Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, here one way Governor Inslee is hoping to convince parents and teachers that it's safe to reopen more classrooms without waiting for more vaccinations.
Plus, we're talking about the federal push to get more vaccines to people who need them.
And another round of winter weather, snow, wintry mix for others. More details in that forecast. It's coming up.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Kristen, Neil, now that I'm thinking about it, Phil, the groundhog so far has been kind of correct.
He has
pretty
been.
Good job.
But we're going to have a lot of changes and some good changes if you're a fan of some warmer weather. So you're going to want to stick around for that full forecast. But bitterly cold in some locations out the door. So let's get you to that Wednesday forecast. Live look right now from Richland's Columbia Point. There has been a little bit of some freezing fog as well developing as these numbers continue to fall around portions of the Tri-Cities. And we have quite the temperature difference. Tri-Cities now down to 7, 34 in Walla Walla, 36 in Hermiston, and then hanging on to numbers into the teens for Yakima at 14 degrees. But we have these numbers in the 30s where the wind have been picking up this morning. So it is going to be a bit breezy along the foothills. Snow continues as well through the northern blues this morning, as well as back through the Cascades. So a little bit more mountain snow to get through. Locally for us, though, here we'll have a lot more sun in the forecast, and we should see numbers above freezing once again with that high of 36 degrees. But that next round of winter weather on the way, I'm timing it all out, how much we can expect. Your full forecast, it's coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. Governor Inslee announced a new roadmap to get more students into classrooms for more hours per week. Inslee said Yakima's process helped him convince other educators to try hybrid learning.
Because basically what he said was, what I saw is if you go to a hybrid model where you have only about half of your students in the classroom at a given time, you can spread out. You can do some cohorting. You can keep people separated. And students actually are remarkably adept at wearing masks. They've actually been very successful in this regard.
Inslee says the state will be working with dozens of school districts to increase testing. But since the CDC recommended last week that we don't need to wait for teachers to be vaccinated before reopening schools, he's still not moving them any higher on the vaccination schedule. The Washington legislature has approved a bill that would waive some graduation requirements for students during a state of emergency. The measure is an effort to help some students who may have struggled during the last year of online learning due to the pandemic. It now heads to Governor Jay Inslee for his signature. The bill is a more permanent extension of a measure passed last session, which allowed school districts to provide temporary waivers for students in the class of 2020 who were on track to graduate before the pandemic disrupted their learning.
We've learned that the Benton County Fairgrounds mass vaccination site will be giving out second doses of the Moderna vaccine next week. You should be able to get an appointment starting on Friday. The site is closed today, however. They'll be giving out second doses of the Pfizer vaccine on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you got your first shot on the final week of January, now is the time to sign up for your booster so you can be fully protected. The first federal mass vaccination site opens in California yesterday, with more expected in Texas next week. The site are in partnership between FEMA and the state. One is at the Oakland Alameda Coliseum and the other is at Cal State LA. Even though they're originally run by the feds, the sites will still follow state rules for determining who gets priority for the shot. Officials say they're hoping to work up to vaccinating 6,000 people every day at each site.
It gives people opportunities to come here via transportation so they could catch the bus or the metro that stops right in front of Cal State LA.
The plan is to open 100 vaccination sites in 100 days. With the force of the federal government vaccinating our public seriously, I think we can accomplish our mission.
Meanwhile, some other mass vaccination sites in California had to shut down because they ran out of doses. You can see weather in LA isn't bad, but the vaccines have to be shipped through the Midwest. And of course, huge storms there are slowing everything down. President Joe Biden is urging Americans to get their COVID-19 vaccine as soon as possible. But the president knows there are some areas that are having trouble getting the shots. Despite early struggles, Biden says progress is being made and that the general public should be able to roll up their sleeves within the next few months.
When is every American who wants it going to be able to get a vaccine?
By the end of July of this year. When we came into office, there was only 50 million doses that are available. We have now, by the end of July, we'll have over 600 million doses, enough to vaccinate every single American.
During last night's CNN town hall, Biden also told Anderson Cooper that the more the virus circulates, the greater the risk of it mutating into more vaccine-resistant variations. The good news is more doses are on the way, just as soon as trucks and planes can get moving again. The Biden administration is planning to send out an additional 13.5 million doses every week to states and 2 million doses to pharmacies. A new thrift store in Kennewick opened their doors Tuesday morning, and to celebrate, the owners are aiming to give back. Tri-City Treasures is located in Kennewick between Harbor Freight and Big Lots. From now until the end of February, they are partnering up with local organizations to donate winter clothing and accessories like blankets and coats to the homeless in our community. If you bring in any of those items, you can get 10% off of your purchase at the thrift shop. Terry Pooler, the owner, says giving back is what she's called to do.
With the COVID and just everything that's going on, a lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people have just found that they're not able to work or even make a living. And so if we can help in any way through food, through whatever means that we have, that's what we want to do.
Pooler says if you have items to donate, you can call to set up a time to bring it in or have someone come and pick it up instead. An injured puppy has now found its forever home with the Yakima police officer who saved its life. Earlier this month, a YPD officer pulled over to try and help a truck driver, thinking he was stuck. He found a puppy trapped beneath the wheel, helped get it free, and took it to the Yakima Humane Society for emergency surgery. The vets had to amputate one of the dog's legs, but he made it through surgery, and the officer knew he had to adopt him.
I put him in the back of the patrol car to transport him over there. He just looked at me, just the sadness in his face. I just saw like instant connection with him, so I had to take him in.
Axel now has a big family and a home. The officer's older dog, Tucker, takes care of Axel, even cuddling up to the puppy to keep him warm.
So sweet. At 5:35, it's now time to raise the flag here on Good Morning Northwest with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Pharmaceutical company Moderna says it has delivered 45.5 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. According to Moderna, data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that 25.5 million of them have been administered. Moderna says it's finishing up more than 33 million doses, but some of them have suffered short-term delays. Company officials blame a contractor for those problems and say the delays will not impact monthly delivery targets. Moderna expects to deliver 100 million doses by the end of March, another 100 million by the end of May, and another 100 million by the end of July. South Korea's spy agency is denying reports that Pfizer was hacked by North Korea. Earlier, a South Korean lawmaker claimed he was briefed by the country's intelligence agency that North Korea had successfully hacked the U.S. drug maker in an attempt to steal its vaccine technology. The intelligence agency issued a rebuttal saying it reported general incidences of hacking attempts on its domestic vaccines and treatments. North Korea has yet to report a single case of the coronavirus, but the country is expected to receive 2 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine in the coming weeks. Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, while Congress is working on a new coronavirus relief bill, the Biden administration is taking steps to help out homeowners.
Now, KapKView First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
And we are really noticing some of the fog that has developed around the Columbia Basin this morning in portions of the Tri-Cities. So quite the temperature difference as well around the area, but really in the Tri-Cities, we're down into the single digits. Not much to see here from this view. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. And as we get you over to this visibility, is the Columbia Basin here. That's where it's less than about a quarter of a mile. This will create even more travel headaches as you head out the door for your commute to work. Most other locations looking good to go this morning. The only exception to Cle Elum, you're down to about 1 mile. But as we switch over to our current temperatures, we're down to 7 degrees in the Tri-Cities. Notice though, numbers are above freezing with 36 in Hermiston, 34 in Walla Walla, Pendleton at 34 degrees, and that's where those winds have really been picking up this morning, sustained up to about 22 in Pendleton, 9 in Walla Walla. And some of your wind gusts today, especially along the foothills, could be between 25 to 35 miles per hour. And that's at least helping to keep those temperatures a little bit warmer this morning. As we look ahead, now there's still a winter storm warning that is in place for the northern blues through this morning through 10 a.m. But we're going to look at another system that could bring us some winter weather as we head over the coming days. So we have a winter weather advisory, mainly above 3,000 feet for the eastern slopes of the Cascades, 10 a.m. Thursday through 1 p.m. on Friday. So at least early this morning, most locations are starting off dry. We should see a lot of sunshine returning today, but that snow does continue through the northern blues and also back through the Cascades this morning, with a little bit more snow left over, at least for the first part of the day today. And as we get you over to what our mountain passes look like, of course, Snoqualmie Pass is back open, but traction tires are advised there. The snow is coming down still pretty heavy at times through Snoqualmie Pass. And then also keep in mind, Stevens Pass is still closed. They're looking to reevaluate that at about 8 o'clock this morning. So we'll continue to keep you posted on that. But as we time out this next system with Futurecast, back to some sunshine again for today, but that next system moves in early tomorrow morning. A little bit of some snowfall there to start off the day from Cle Elum down into Yakima, but really towards late morning into the afternoon hours, which is when the majority of the area will see that wintry mix moving in, snow coming down at times. And then as we take you throughout your Friday, we should be back to some drier conditions, more sun in the forecast, although it will be a little bit breezy for your Friday afternoon. So how much snowfall are we expecting? Not a whole lot with this system, maybe up to an inch in some locations. Of course, we'll have a little bit more of a wintry mix. The snowfall totals will be a little bit less. So that's what we can expect with this next system before we start to see a pretty big warm up. Temperatures for this afternoon, 39 in Toppenish with 40 degrees today in Yakima, 36 in the Tri-Cities and 42 degrees today in Hermiston. Dayton at 34 and then 37 this afternoon for Walla Walla. Overnight tonight, more patchy freezing fog possible as numbers fall through the 20s, low 20s in many spots. 7-day forecast for Tri-Cities. We'll have that wintry mix on Thursday and then quieting things down for the weekend, although the winds will be picking up. 50 degrees Sunday, our warmest day on Monday next week at 56. And then your 7-day forecast in Yakima with those on and off snow showers Thursday, breezy Friday, and then close to about 50 on Sunday.
Thank you, Kristen. The Biden administration is extending COVID-19 mortgage relief. This announcement extends the foreclosure moratorium for homeowners with federally backed loans until the end of June. It also extends the window for homeowners with federally backed loans to request mortgage forbearance, which allows them to defer or reduce their mortgage payments until the end of June. Many of the protections put in place last spring were due to expire next month. Still, the administration says more assistance is needed, especially for homeowners with loans backed by private lenders. President Biden says no one should work a full-time job and still live in poverty. His proposed stimulus plan includes raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. He spoke on the issue during a CNN town hall with Anderson Cooper last night.
No one should work 40 hours a week and live in poverty. No one should work 40 hours a week and live in poverty. But it's totally legitimate for small business owners to be concerned about how that changes. For example, if we gradually increased it, when we indexed it at 720, if we kept it indexed to inflation, people would be making $20 an hour right now.
The CNN town hall was part of Biden's effort to build support for his coronavirus relief package. Democrats are working on a process that will let them pass the relief bill without Republican support. While Democrats say they're rushing to help people struggling because of the pandemic, many Republicans are saying not everyone getting that help actually needs it.
You could have a family with 3 kids making almost $300,000 a year getting a check, and many of these people have had no impact from COVID. In fact, some are doing quite well, others are struggling. Let's focus on those who are struggling.
A lot of the current relief will expire in the middle of March, including the extended unemployment insurance benefits, but we know that we won't have beaten the pandemic by the middle of March.
Democrats are hoping to start holding votes on the president's proposal sometime next week. President Biden's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services will appear before a Senate committee next week. Xavier Becerra currently serves as California's Attorney General. His confirmation hearing before the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee is set for next Tuesday. Becerra will likely face a barrage of questions about how he would help manage the government's response to the pandemic. If confirmed, he will be the first Latino to lead the department. He's among 24 of Biden's nominees still waiting to be confirmed by the Senate. Rudy Giuliani is no longer serving as former President Donald Trump's personal attorney. Senior Trump advisor Jason Miller confirmed the news yesterday. The former mayor of New York City was outspoken in Trump's attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Miller says Giuliani is still an ally and a friend to Trump, but he isn't representing Trump in any legal pending cases. The former president is facing numerous criminal investigations, civil state inquiries, and defamation lawsuits. Giuliani himself is also facing legal problems, including a civil lawsuit where he's accused of conspiring with Trump to incite the mob behind last month's siege on the Capitol. When we come back on Good Morning Northwest, while most of us were staying inside, one man set a new record in Eastern Washington. Hear what kept him running despite the snow.
Welcome back. How does running in the snow for 130 miles sound? Yes, on your feet through the freezing cold. This past weekend, Matthew Shepard from the Tri-Cities took on Columbia Plateau Trail. Our Madeline Hagan has a look at the run and how he pushed through.
While most of us avoided the outdoors this weekend, Matthew Shepard,
I think I just might be the luckiest man on the planet,
did the opposite.
130 miles, that's definitely within my realm of abilities, and I thought, really difficult. That sounds fun.
Shepard, a Kamiakin High School alum, has been planning to run the Columbia Plateau Trail for weeks. It spans from Pasco to Cheney, featuring railroad trestles,
big old long creepy tunnel at night,
and spanning views.
What a fantastic place to be. And you're looking at rocks that, touching things that somebody might not have touched for 50 years.
Shepard started on Saturday morning with friend Brandon Lott. They trekked on through the snow and freezing temperatures.
The snow added a layer of cushion to the difficult rock, but it also made it hard to see the bigger rocks. You ended up kicking a lot of rocks, a lot of tripping.
They took breaks occasionally, and Shepard had a friend follow him in a car with supplies.
Zeta, you got Brandon, we're rocking it.
The runner says overall, things went smoothly, besides a few obstacles here and there.
We got lots of rock ahead of us, the jungle of tumbleweeds.
Shepard says there wasn't a point where he felt like quitting, but the wind combined with cold did pose a challenge.
My face was just really red and all the little snow pellets were just stinging, and I was having a hard time.
Then,
final stretch here.
After 40 hours and 48 minutes, Matthew finished the grueling 130 miles.
I was just singing and celebrating and just kind of having a good time on that last bit. So when I crossed the finish line, it was actually pretty anticlimactic. We got in the truck and we're like, let's go get something to eat.
Matthew encourages anyone to get started in running. You don't have to crush hundreds of miles at once. Just start slow.
Get out, put one foot in front of the other, and when you're tired, walk. And then when you're not, you start running again. It's little bits at a time. It really does add up. And then consistency.
Running a distance like that, you'd think Matthew has been running his whole life, but he actually didn't take it up until his early 20s. Since then, he's ran countless ultra marathons spanning hundreds of miles. You can follow along with his running adventures on Instagram at @go_Shep.
Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, officials investigating another deadly officer-involved shooting in Seattle last night.
Plus, we have the latest on those snowpass conditions as you're getting ready for your commute.
And we are expecting another round of winter weather on the way. More details in that forecast. It's coming up.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Wednesday morning. Thanks for starting it off with us. Kristen, we got some crunchy snow outside, but you say there could be some more winter weather on the way?
Yep, another round on the way. Today, though, overall, we're going to see a lot more sun back in the forecast, so I think a lot more snow melt as well. But as we're getting started this morning, starting to see a little bit of some daylight out there in downtown Yakima this morning. Sunrise just before 7 o'clock, and it should be a beautiful day overall. Now, there are some locations that are dealing with some freezing fog, including the Tri-Cities this morning. Temperatures are really bottoming out down to about 9 degrees in the Tri-Cities. 33 for Walla Walla, 34 in Pendleton, and that's where those winds have really started to pick up this morning. 17 Toppenish and then 15 degrees in Yakima. And there's still a little bit of some mountain snowfall out there as well, but we should start to see those improvements as well. So that mostly sunny sky returning today, 33 lunchtime, 36 degrees by later on this afternoon. So more details on that winter weather that's expected to move in. I'll have full details. It's all coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. Detectives are investigating after a Seattle police officer shot and killed a man last night along the waterfront. Seattle police were called about a man in crisis who was armed with a kitchen knife, but when they arrived, they say the man took off. Officers tried to approach him and used a less lethal weapon to get him to comply, but they say that didn't work. According to investigators, the man then moved towards officers who then fired and fatally struck him. 2 officers who were involved have been placed on administrative leave. This is the second deadly shooting in the past week involving Seattle officers. Protesters in Seattle built a mound of snow to block patrol cars from leaving the East Precinct on Saturday night, and some felt the reaction by officers was out of line. A group of about 20 people challenged officers to a snowball fight as they drove out of the precinct. The group was also building a snow wall in front of one of the sally ports to keep the patrol cars from getting through. Initially, the patrol cars rolled right over it, but then one got stuck, and that's when the situation seemed to escalate. John Mitchell shot video as the exchange between police and protesters unfolded.
You guys build the structure again, we'll arrest every single one of you.
It just seemed completely, an overreaction that we've kind of become accustomed to from the Seattle police.
Mitchell says officers shoved people, although the video doesn't show that. In the end, no one was arrested.
Tens of thousands of people in Portland remained without power as crews raced to restore electricity after the icy weekend winter storm downed more than 5,000 power lines. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office said since the snow started falling, 4 people have died from carbon monoxide poisoning. They're urging people not to use alternative heating sources in their homes. The weekend weather system brought heavy snow across the Pacific Northwest. Northwest Oregon saw some of the most severe effects as conditions downed trees and collapsed roofs. Lawmakers in Washington state have proposed a measure that would prevent authorities from suspending driver's licenses when a person cannot pay or respond to a traffic ticket. The Kitsap Sun reported that the measure would eliminate the practice of suspending licenses for those who are unable to pay off their traffic infractions. 12 other states in the U.S. have enacted similar laws eliminating debt-based license suspension, including Oregon and California. The legislature has said that suspended licenses account for about 33% of the caseload of the state prosecutor. This brings us to our mega poll question of the day. Do you think a driver's license should be suspended due to an unpaid traffic ticket? Vote now at yaktrynews.com/vote, and we'll have those results at the end of the show. Snoqualmie Pass has completely reopened following an overnight closure due to avalanche danger. Although conditions aren't good and they're asking people to stay home if you can, WashDOT crews have cleared the roads of snow and ice and ran several avalanche control missions. All lanes of I-90 are back open. The pass closed overnight Monday due to car crashes and avalanche danger, and WashDOT extended that closure into the afternoon to finish their work. But Stevens Pass remained closed. These were pictures posted by WashDOT before they said forget it and shut down entirely. They tweeted that the snow is falling faster than crews can clear it, so they're giving up for now, and they'll reevaluate at 8 o'clock this morning. We've heard a lot about people hesitating to get the coronavirus vaccine, but not 90-year-old Fran Goldman.
I had been spending a great deal of my time trying to get an appointment to get a vaccination.
She finally got an appointment right before the huge 3-part winter storm hit. Cars were struggling to get around and plows couldn't keep up, but there are plenty of walking trails around Seattle. So Fran decided to hike the 6 miles from her home to the clinic to make sure she didn't miss her shot.
I don't think it was all that special. It was just it was the way I could do it, and so I did it. I got my vaccination, and then I was told I had to sit and wait 15 minutes to make sure there was no reaction, and I said, I'm delighted to sit.
Fran says she's prepared to walk across town again if she needs to when it's time for her booster shot. As the South Central region gets into phase 2, more businesses are preparing to open their doors again. Fairchild Cinemas announced on Facebook they will be reopening 2 Tri-City locations on Friday. The theater will open the Kennewick and Richland locations at 25% capacity. And the theater is even offering $10 concession vouchers for the first 120 people to purchase tickets on their website. Tickets will be available to purchase later today.
Let's take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest, but before we do, that live look outside.
Pretty quiet start early this morning as we're giving you a live look right now from Toppenish. Next round of winter weather set to move in over the coming days. Stick around for that full forecast. It's coming up.
Plus, North Korea is being accused of hacking Pfizer to get COVID-19 vaccine data.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. South Korea's spy agency is denying reports that Pfizer was hacked by North Korea. Earlier, a South Korean lawmaker claimed he was briefed by the country's intelligence agency that North Korea had successfully hacked the U.S. drug maker in an attempt to steal its vaccine technology. The intelligence agency issued a rebuttal saying it reported general incidences of hacking attempts on its domestic vaccines and treatments. North Korea has yet to report a single case of coronavirus, but the country is expected to receive 2 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine in the coming weeks. Pharmaceutical company Moderna says it has delivered 45.5 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. According to Moderna, data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows 25.5 million of them have been administered. Moderna says it's finishing up more than 33 million doses, but some of them have suffered short-term delays. Company officials blame a contractor for those problems and say the delays will not impact monthly delivery targets. Moderna expects to deliver 100 million doses by the end of March, another 100 million by the end of May, and another 100 million by the end of July. Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, Kristen Walls will have your full forecast. We saw sunshine yesterday. What you can expect today, that's coming up.
Now, Cap KVU First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
And welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. We are waking up this morning, at least in some spots, to some freezing fog that has really settled into the area. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. Visibilities at times less than about a half mile. So this is adding up to some of those icy spots that we already have, especially on those side roads this morning. So sunrise at 6:56 this morning, sunset at 5:26. So we have reduced visibilities from Tri-Cities into Moses Lake, and then even over into Cle Elum this morning, you're looking at a little bit of some freezing fog as well, and really quite the temperature difference that we have around the area. 9 degrees currently in the Tri-Cities, down to about 33 in Walla Walla with 36 in Hermiston, and then down to 15 in Yakima. So where we have some of those warmer temperatures and where we're above freezing, that's where those winds have been picking up this morning. And you're expecting, especially along the foothills of the Blues today, some of your sustained winds up to, or some of the wind gusts, 25 to 35 miles per hour. These are sustained winds right now. Pendleton up to 21. Hermiston even up to about 14 miles per hour this morning. So we have a winter storm warning, which is still in place for the northern Blues. That goes until 10 a.m. this morning. That's still with some of the snow that is left over early this morning. But our next system that we are watching, set to move in here tomorrow into Friday, we have a winter weather advisory in effect for the eastern slopes of the Cascades. 10 a.m. Thursday through 1 p.m. on Friday, and that's mainly above 3,000 feet that the most accumulation is expected with this system. So early this morning, as the sun comes up, we should see plenty of sunshine out there. But as we give you a look at some of even the Cascades this morning, there's still some snow that is falling. A lot of improvements through Snoqualmie Pass back open when we have traction tires advised there. The pass is still closed at Stevens Pass, and they are set set to reassess that at about 8 o'clock this morning. So that is certainly something we'll continue to keep you posted on. And just a clear sky for Manastash. No travel restrictions there. So here's Futurecast. Enjoying some of that sun as it will be back out there for today. More snow melt. We will have our next system set to move in here early tomorrow morning. Maybe a few snow showers out to our west first. And then late morning into the afternoon hours, that's when we could see a wintry mix from the Tri-Cities into the foothills. Snow is expected around the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley and quickly pushing out of here for your Friday. Back to partly sunny sky as those winds are expected to pick up by Friday afternoon. So as far as snowfall amounts go with the system, not really not expecting a whole lot, maybe up to an inch in some locations, and then where we're expecting more of a wintry mix, especially along the foothills of the Blue, some lesser amounts there for your Thursday. So as we warm up today, we're looking at a high temperature of 40 degrees in Yakima with 39 in Toppenish. 42 today in Hermiston with 36 in the Tri-Cities, mid-30s in Hanford, and then 37 Walla Walla, 39 in Pendleton. Overnight tonight, a little bit more of some freezing fog moving in as temperatures fall through the 20s. So there is your 7-day forecast. A wintry mix on Thursday, breezy conditions Friday, close to 50 on Sunday with 56 degrees on Monday. And then your 7-day forecast in Yakima, some snow showers on Thursday, drier as we head into the weekend, close to about 50 on Sunday.
Thank you, Kristen. And news from across America. The captain of a Santa Barbara dive boat pleaded not guilty to federal manslaughter charges. Jerry Neil Boylan was released on a $250,000 bond, and his trial is scheduled for next month. In 2019, a fire broke out on the 75-foot vessel, killing 33 passengers and 1 crew member. Boylan and 5 other crew members survived by jumping into the harbor. The indictment against the 67-year-old captain says Boylan is to blame due to his misconduct, negligence, and inattention to his duties. Charges have been dropped against the woman who called police on a black man bird watching in Central Park last year. On May 25th, Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper, no relation, got into a confrontation in a wooded area of the park over her unleashed dog. Amy Cooper called 911 and said in a frantic tone that a black man was threatening her. She had been charged with falsely reporting an incident. But yesterday, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office dropped the misdemeanor charge. They said she completed educational classes on racial equity to their satisfaction, so the judge granted the motion to dismiss. Coming up, the teenager who survived a terrifying tiger attack at an animal sanctuary is speaking out this morning. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details in today's GMA First Look.